first question would be, you held a key position on education institutes throughout a professional career. What are the key factors that keep you connected with education sector?
Anybody who's in the education field connected with the world of education is you have to upgrade yourself. You have to be in touch. You have to know what is happening around the world. And secondly are the students. The students are the ones who will connect you with they take you to the future also. And without, also you go to various conferences, or you read the latest research, you read the government documents, everything else that's happening around.
Right, ma'am. So ma'am, being the director of Manav Rachna International University, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
See, a leadership style cannot be fixed. Right? There cannot be a fixed kind of a thing. So my style is, it's more, it's more transformational. At times, there are times when you have to also be authoritarian. But most of the time, I believe in a laissez-faire kind of a leadership, because this is an educational institution. Okay. And so you have to disciplining or every other thing, you are facilitators. And you're working with people who are knowledge repositories. So with that, it has to be transformational. You have to not only lead the team, but you have to take it to a different superlative. Performances can only happen when you give enough space, and there are certain norms and certain reasons where you have to be authoritarian. Like if you're doing an examination, that's one place where you are a little authoritarian. But otherwise, it has to be a transformational one.
Right, ma'am.
Also, as in the education field, you also have to lead by doing. You have to be on. It has to be experiential, and you should walk the talk. So if you're talking ethics and values, you should be doing it. And one thing important for a leader in an educational field is you should be good. You should be a good teacher also.
Right, ma'am. How does the curriculum of Manav Rachna International University ensure that best practice of industry?
See, because we have different stakeholders. When you are making the curriculum, we revise our curriculum every 2 or 3 years. And when we are making the curriculum, we take into account all the stakeholders. It's the parents, the alumni, the current students, and of course your peers, teachers from outside and from the industry. And people from the industry where the students are going to go and build their careers. So if you have all the stakeholders are equally involved in preparing the curriculum. And it's a long process. It takes about 6 months to vet on the processes and everything. And that's how then we roll out the curriculum.
Right, ma'am. And ma'am, what do you think should be the university's top priority over next 10 years? Or 5 years?
Any university's top priority. Okay. 10 years, 5 years. See, the way the things are changing. Pre-pandemic, nobody thought that online, that this is going to happen.
Right.
And believe me, if you do a survey, the way the teaching community took to online in India is amazing. It's a story in itself. I think it's one of the biggest success stories, like the Dabbewalas of Mumbai, because the teaching community pan-India really took to that. So I think in the next 10 years is a long time. The next 5 years, the vision has to be, there has to be no rigid parameters. It has to be blended learning. It has to be focused on the future. You cannot have, your old systems have crumpled. The old systems of doing things has crumpled. The testing method, it's all outdated. This is a new generation, a generation where the social media, where the internet is such a powerful presence. It's almost a real presence. And we've done all the teaching through that. So we should be able to trust the people more. New education should not be, it should not be like physicality has to be less, blended learning, and you should have goals for what you want to do. It has to be very future oriented. You have to experiment with new careers, with new disciplines, and the future belongs to only liberal arts. Liberal arts, which means you have your physical sciences, you have the social sciences, psychology, economics, political science, performing arts, creative arts, geography, anthropology. These are the subjects of the future.
Right. Perfect, ma'am. And ma'am, next question would be insights on to how your university could be more welcoming to the students of different races or economic backgrounds.
See, our university is we are a very global university, and but there are always chances of improvement. And what we do is anything begins on various platforms. It has to go simultaneously. Like if you want a university to be gender friendly, you have to start making the changes at various places. In your language, in your communication, you have to use gender neutral words. Similarly, if it has to be a global university. We already have people from around 22, 23 states of the country, and we have a lot of people coming from abroad because we have our focus is we are one of the universities that focuses on sports training a lot, and we have very good state-of-the-art infrastructure as far as sports goes, shooting, and right now also we are doing a Kho camp, national camp here. So there are a lot of things that we are doing, and I think this is what makes it.
Right.
What was the question?
Ma'am, the question was how do you welcome more from people from different races and economic backgrounds?
Yeah. So this is how you welcome people, because your mindset has to be welcoming, because all the biases are there in the mind. So, and then you also have rules, do's and don'ts, and you make the people aware that this is the way to treat. We do all of that in our communication classes also, and also the university in itself. It is quite an inclusive university. You have different sports people from the country, from abroad coming in. You have people from Syria and other. They come in, and that's how you need to be a little more careful. You need to tell the students how to be careful about certain what is the kind of language to use, what are the do's and don'ts. And another thing we do is we celebrate. Say, suppose all the foreign students who are there, we celebrate their festivals. The major festivals, we get them. If they're not going out, we get all of them and we celebrate it. The International Student Center celebrates it with them. We put this peer mentoring. You give them one local person so that they're not feeling out of place, and they can go around the local city also.
Right now. So ma'am, last few questions, what do you see as Manav Rachna International University's colleges greatest strength?
The greatest strength is we are very inclusive and we focus on holistic development. There's sports, there are so many other things to do. It's not just, and we are into experiential learning. We have one other thing, which is our USP is community service. Every student does at least 100 hours of community service in their tenure here. And these are some things, so we are working on the whole. It's a very holistic and a very complete education. And this is what the focus is going to be always. What you're giving back to society, that is very important, ethics, values, and how you treat other people. Because these are things that people should learn. Knowledge, anybody can. Today, nobody can beat Google in terms of knowledge and information. What you do with that, that's the part of the teacher and in university. That's where we are different.
Perfect, ma'am. So, ma'am, as I was listening to your answer for different races and sports person coming from different countries, so I would just like to ask that plans that you're currently designing for international affairs or students?
The plan is not specifically, of course, if we were getting people from maybe war-ridden countries, then we would want to work on how to deal with trauma and other things. We have a very robust psychology department. We have a counseling set. That is where we would have to. Otherwise, if people come from different areas, then we know how to make them comfortable. And the plan is that the more you interact with others, because with this online teaching, we have reached out, we've done courses, we interacted with various platforms, with various universities. And I think one thing is, when you do, one way is to go outside. When we were physically traveling, we were sending students abroad to different universities and getting there's been a faculty exchange, other things. But that is the program. You see how you can get international students here, and how the campus is very global with the state of the art infrastructure, everything, the hygiene, and a green campus. So all of that, I think that's all that's required. And what you have here, the kind of teaching, the kind of subjects, those are the biggest attraction. So if we have liberal arts and we have Indic studies and we have things that they are interested in, it will automatically become a center.
Perfect, ma'am. So, ma'am, at the last, any suggestion you would like to give to the current youth or to the aspiring students?
Yes, I would. The only thing I can tell the aspiring students is that don't, whatever else the people can tell you, nobody knew that YouTuber could be a profession. So follow your passion, but whatever you do, ensure that it sustains you for life. It gives you a financial independence, and it also, because everybody has to earn something, no? So you have to earn your living and experiment with yourself, experiment with careers. There is no better time in the world than today. You can look at whatever you are comfortable doing, experiment. It will earn the money. The age is of idea. Ideas are money. Be innovative, be experimental, be experiential, and live your life. If you're happy with what you do, you will give back to the society.
That's all perfect, ma'am. Ma'am, and if anything you would like to add to this, or anything you would like to mention about the university, please make sure.
Yes, I would like to tell the students that whatever we do so much for our body, everything, one thing you have to do is for your soul, and that is give to others. Community service, that's the word I want to use, nothing else. It is community service with no other ulterior motive. It could be anything, animal welfare, teaching a child, teaching the less privileged child, inclusive learning, even learning the sign language, to help people, whatever, but do something for your soul also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That's one of the best interviews I've ever conducted. And it was so generous that you were talking about more than stuff about education. And that's very, very generous of you. And that's it from my end, ma'am.